Yo, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Smooth Podcast, simply motivating others onward through hope. Here to the left of me, I have someone that is the embodiment of motivating others onward through hope. My man Sam Black. What's good, man?
What's going on? What's going on?
So I hit my man Sam Black up because we knew each other through the Nightlife specs, aka knowing each other but not really knowing each other. And from afar, I could tell that some things have changed, and I really wanted to get his perspective on his outlook of life and kind of the events that follow such a huge event that occurred in his life. So we're gonna get through all that today. Sam, where were you born and raised?
From Boston, Massachusetts. I was raised in Dorchester. I call Dorchester like the capital of Boston. Some people think it's Roxbury, but I was born and raised in Dorchester. I'm like literally all my life.
Okay. Now, I used to work at West Roxbury High School, and there was a big thing saying that West Roxbury wasn't really Boston. I didn't get that, especially because like the inside of the school was pretty urban. So what do you actually consider Boston? I know that's like a big thing.
It's actually crazy. I graduated from West Roxbury.
Oh, that is nice.
Yeah, I'm class of '09, so I don't know when you was working there. But yeah, I graduated from Westie. So with me, it's not that West Roxbury isn't Boston. It's just not urban Boston, because like it's really on like the borderline. You know, Dedham's right there. But I still consider it Boston. The school itself, because the way Boston's set up, it's definitely like a busing. So like you're gonna have kids from everywhere. So there was kids from Dorchester, from Roxbury, from Mattapan, a lot of kids from everywhere that actually went to West Roxbury. So when you walk in there, you're not the school doesn't match the town. So you're with a bunch of kids from everywhere,
Right? Yeah.
You know, and then you got some West Roxbury kids, but it's definitely dominated by a bunch of different like urban areas.
Yeah. All right. And so did you have like what kind of student were you in high school?
Well, I played on the basketball team. I played football one year, my freshman year, but like it really wasn't for me. Played on the ball team. I was, got fairly good grades.
Did you have like college aspirations?
Yeah, I went to college too. Yeah, I went to, so I graduated with, a decent GPA, like 3.2. Went to Salem State, graduated from Salem State, double majored. Yeah, like I was just one of those, like, I had both like sides of me, so I could get the book smarts, I could get the street smarts. Like I had brothers before me that kind of paved the way and showed me the ropes with a lot of stuff. So it was, for me, it was like an easy 1, 2, 3. So it was like,
And what did you double major in?
elementary ed and sociology, child studies.
Okay. And what were you looking to do? Were you looking to be like a teacher or something after?
So after I graduated, funny, I went back to West Roxbury and I was a substitute teacher for a year before they closed down. So this was 2019 maybe, and then or 2018, and then after they closed down, I went to a K through 8 in East Boston, and they made me a building sub. I worked there for like 2 or 3 years up until COVID, and then I came back after COVID, like during like 2021 before my accident. That was the last time I worked, right before my accident.
Okay. And during that time too, you were also like doing events and things like that?
Yeah, absolutely.
How'd you get into that?
So I actually got into events at Salem State. So I was like one of those kids that like I don't know, I get along with everybody easily. And people knew me through sports. In Boston I played sports and played in different little basketball tournaments. And then on campus when I just kind of knew all the freshmen, and I knew some of the upperclassmen because my brother actually graduated from Salem State. So a lot of people that were seniors were freshmen when he was there. So one day me and my boy Sebastian, we went to a party out in like Brandeis or one of those schools, and like we spent like 30 minutes like just dabbing people up. Like he was like, yo, you know a lot of people. I'm like, yo, you know a lot of people. And then we kind of just chopped it up like, yo, this is something we should be doing. And he had a background in throwing parties, so we put our heads together. I spoke to one of my older guys, Roscoe. He's a DJ. He helped me find a spot in Lynn, and literally that's how it took off. We just started throwing parties and just kind of escalated, and then we branched off, got into the Rhode Island scene, and then I met Dre, who introduced me to Kazim, and then after I started working with Kazim, he introduced me to you, and that's kind of how we ended up.
Well, when it comes to nightlife, what would you say are the similarities and the differences between Boston and Providence?
The similarities are kind of tough because Providence, y'all do your own thing. You guys have nights that go till 3. You guys have locations that have like 18 plus. Y'all got hookah. You guys kind of have like the freelance like nightlife aspect of it. I could say what Boston got into recently that you guys have is like lounges, like restaurant lounge like settings. So like right now, like my brother and one of his close friends, they're owners at FET, which is a restaurant lounge. I've been to places in Rhode Island that kind of give me that vibe. A lot of people thought FET had hookah. They're like, yo, this remind me of being, you know, in Rhode Island. Yeah, I mean, you guys kind of like, yeah, like y'all got your own flow for real. I think the part of Mass that reminds me more of Rhode Island would be like Lawrence, because I know Rhode Island has a big like Hispanic like scene, and like so does Lawrence, so does like Lowell. So I would say like that would be like the closest that I feel, and even like Lynn sometimes.
Yeah. What I like about Boston is just the pure amount of people, and it looks like, I feel like the events catered to black people. A lot of people support them. Like a lot of people support him, and that's always dope seeing. Shout out to like everybody eats. A lot of his stuff.
Oh yeah,
like people go out crazy, and it's just good seeing that. You know what I mean? I feel like Rhode Island, we don't really have. We got Dacho, we got Yellow Cup. Outside of that, like it's not really to that extent. But you guys kind of pop out heavy for like the events catered to the.
No, absolutely, and it actually took us a while to get there because like COVID was like a big thing that helped push black businesses. They had like that little movement where like everybody wanted to support black businesses, and once that took off, you could see like it was like a domino effect.
Yeah.
Like right now, we got the most black owners that we've had in a long time, and like for me, I'm proud of that. So it's been coming. You know, it's been a long time coming. You guys were already ahead of the game with like black and Hispanic ownership.
Yeah.
We catching up to that.
Yeah. Well, there was a lot of like gatekeeping in Boston. I remember because I lived there from like 2009 to 2013, and like to even like throw an event at a spot, you had to know someone that was really the guy. So you had to work under him. It was real politicky like that. In Providence, you can just talk to the owner. You get a night, get your green light.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's one thing I did like about Providence. Like there was a lot of freedom, and they didn't do a lot of like screening. Like when you get to like some Boston clubs, it's obviously it's a little more loose now, but yeah, there was a lot of screening. Like it's like, okay, who do you know? Where have you done parties at? You know, what's your background and what's your crowd look like? And I honestly, now that I'm closer to people who own these establishments, I see the reason why a lot of that, you know, took place. But it just felt different when you're on the outside, and it's like the stigma is like, okay, I'm a black kid that has to talk to a white owner, and you kind of feel like there's some type of stereotype going on, and he might just be saying no to protect his business, not because of, you know, you per se,
personal thing. Yeah,
exactly. But you know, the narrative is always gonna be what the narrative is. So it's like, you know, perception being reality. So
yeah, that's a good point. So when you know you were promoting, you're working at the school. What is your goal at that point? Is it to just continue in both, or did you see something else? Are you working towards something else right now? Like, what's your kind of like future plan and all?
So at that moment, and this is like before my accident, I could say like, yeah, I had my hands in a little bit of everything, but I knew overall I was a people person. So you could put me in any age group and I could get along. I could have a conversation. I could figure it out. So literally, like, yeah, you're right. Like there was days where, yep, I'm getting up at 6 a.m, substitute teaching, and then that same night I might have an event, you know, somewhere else. But I could say at that moment, my ultimate goal, actually, like what I was doing was going pretty good. I was kind of happy. I was doing like mentoring and like big brother stuff on the side. So like I was doing 1-to-1 with certain kids. Like honestly, where I was at was good for me. Like it was like a perfect blend of everything.
Okay. And now you keep referring to the accident. And I don't think you've ever talked about it publicly, what actually happened. So here's your space. What actually was the accident? So,
shoot. A lot of this is like what was told to me. So that's the first thing, because I don't remember 95% of it. Like just from my recollection, I was picked up at the Airbnb, and I'm in Dominican Republic at the time, and then Boom. 18 days later, I woke up in America at Brigham and Women's Hospital. But to start from the beginning, so one of my close friends, his mom, was getting married, so I wasn't even out there for like, fun per se. I went out there for a family wedding. And that first night of the trip, mind you, going into the trip, I had a lot of like, it's funny how the universe will talk to you and you like ignore it. I had a lot of things. I was like, yo, don't go on this trip.
Really?
Like, I kid you not. And it's like little things like my flight being delayed. I had got to the airport. Actually, even going into the trip, because at the time, there was a few events that I was trying to make everything work out. So it's like people's birthdays were coming up, and it's like, all right, I don't want to miss your birthday, so let's just figure something out where the first part of the trip would be the wedding, and then we'll, figure out the second part of the trip where I'll come back to Boston and fly out somewhere else. I'm like, nah, I might cancel the trip. I ended up deciding to do the trip. Flight got delayed. Flight got canceled. I had to book a whole new flight. I had a direct flight that got canceled, so I had to lay over in Miami. I have a cousin in Miami. I stayed the night, and it was actually his birthday, so I stayed the night. And then my flight to DR was in the morning. So I get to the airport. They're like, yo, your passport expires in less than, whatever it was, like 6 months or 8 months. It's like, we're technically not even supposed to let you get out the country if your passport isn't renewed, within a certain period of time. Like if it's under 6 months, then, you can only fly domestic. You can't go international. But the lady was like, you know what? I'm not even going to stress you. You have a return flight. I'll let you go. So those three things, like one, the uncertainty about even going, the flight getting canceled and having to rebook, and then my passport, like actually I'm technically not even supposed to fly. So it's like, all right, I should have just canceled the trip. Boom. First day of the trip, everybody's, family setting. We're just kind of like prepping for the wedding. Did my dry cleaning. Help put the decor around the space that we were using for the wedding. All that. Get back to the Airbnb. Change up. My guy made me some. We were starving. My guy had cooked some. Boom. We ate. My man's came to pick me up, and I just remember going to the car. He's like, "Yo, drive." I'm like, "No, man. You drive. You good. I'm just gonna, relax or whatever." So I get in the passenger, and then that's the last thing I remember. So what I was told, based on the police report, so we collided with a garbage truck that was parked on the side of the road. DR got no rules. You do what you want out there, guys. Like there was barely any light, and this garbage truck was parked, and there was a car in front of us. So the car in front of us, they get close to the garbage truck, and it swerve out the way last minute. My man's that's driving, he tries to swerve, but he didn't catch it in time. Like obviously, had there been like enough like room between us and the car in front of us, and the car, didn't wait last minute just to get out that lane, we would have had enough time to react. But yeah. So he gets out the way, but it cuts my side of the impact's on my side of the whip. So boom, and then everything just went downhill. I'm telling, like, these are stories like I'm being told, like innocent bystanders on the side, trying to come help. My side of the car is smashed in. Like they saying like cause I couldn't open the door. They saying like I got myself out the car like through the window, like shit, like stuff that like you wouldn't even like expect somebody.
The adrenaline was just so crazy.
I don't even know how. Like some of these stories, I'm still thinking back. Like, yo, for real. Like I got myself out the car, like to the point where, like ambulance came, and then like I don't remember nothing. And the impact was so bad. My father was telling me like they were telling him like when they looked at the car, I don't know if I was taking a nap or I was just chilling. My seat was reclined. They're like, yo, if the seat wasn't reclined, like exactly where the impact was, it would have just took my head off. Like so there's a lot that went into it that's like, yo, it's a blessing that I don't remember, because when doctors or nurses talk to me, it's like the PTSD that even people with less of a traumatic incident have, I don't really suffer through any of that. It's like I'm able to just, get up and, and like even the process moving forward, it's always tough. Like everybody tries to make it look like, oh, it's somebody's fault. And you gotta understand, like, I'm not even a person that like carries like anger or resentment in my heart. Like my man's, that's my right hand man. It's like that's like my brother. My parents know him. I know his parents. I done slept at his home. Like so, like we good.
And I know there's no resentment on your end, but on his end, how was he feeling during this time?
There's definitely a lot of guilt. Like absolutely, there's times like even to this day, like he'll tell me like, "Yo, bro, like put your seatbelt on." Like he's telling me put my seatbelt on. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't want me moving like this never happened because there's obviously a lesson to always learn from every experience. So like, he takes things way more serious. He's a very cautious individual. Like he deals with more PTSD than I do. But yeah, just the love's there. Like I know where his heart's at, and I know like he definitely thinks about that way more than I do. Like that's something that goes through his head often. He tells me so.
And now, outside of, I guess, not being able to remember the exact events that happened, why else do you think that you kind of have this attitude of not being down and not kind of giving up and not feeling horrible about yourself? Why do you feel like you have that attitude?
So I think the first step is realizing what you survived. So immediately after the accident, like boom, rushed to the hospital. Like I spent 18 days in a coma, 7 of which I was stuck in Dominican Republic. When I was in Dominican Republic, my father flew out and he told me like, yo, like the last day I was there, like my heart stopped twice. Doctors called him like, yo, you gotta run to the hospital, like say your last goodbyes. So like hearing my father tell me like, yo, he had to say his last goodbyes, and friends, family, my brother came out there, my man was still out there. It's like, yo, you see, like, yo, I was almost gone. So it's like I'm not looking at what happened. I'm looking at what I survived, what I overcame. So boom, my father that last night, he's like, yo, I don't care where my son dies, he's not dying here. So if y'all think he's gonna die, like I'm gonna do everything in my power to like make sure I know like I did what I could and not just leave him here. So they end up putting me on the med flight, and the reason I didn't get on it sooner is because they were advised not to put me on it because my vitals weren't stable. So it's like, yo, you put him on that flight, he's gonna die in the air mid-flight. My father was like, yo, we're figuring something out. So they put me on the flight. It was me and my dad and like 3 nurses. He said, I get to bring him a woman's.
It's like a real movie. It's crazy.
Yo, honestly, yeah, like I get to like a lot of it is like movie stuff when I think back on it. So after the 7 days in DR, I did 11 days in Brigham and Women's, and I finally woke up. And like literally, when I woke up, my mom was the person that was in the hospital with me besides the doctors, So they start talking to me. They asking me questions, and I just remember, mind you, I haven't spoken in 18 days. I haven't nothing. I haven't eaten. They be like feeding me, however they feeding me. So I'm talking, and in my mind, I know what I'm supposed to say, but it's coming out so slow, and my voice is so raspy. So they're like, do you know who this is? I'm like, yeah, it's my mom, but I'm talking slow. They asked me how many fingers they have up. They asked me my name. And then, they asked me a couple questions. I'm answering them, but it's like super slow motion. Then they're like, yeah, like, you were just in Dominican Republic. You got into a real bad car accident. Boom, we had to, amputate your leg. So I really just remember I'm in the hospital bed. I look down. I'm like, oh, shoot. And like, for some reason, I think what went through my mind, I'm like, yo, we just gotta figure it out. Like after they told me like the story, I'm like, there's no other feeling I had, but like I felt blessed. Like my mom was there, like the amount of crying she did, the amount of praying she did, and like hearing, like honestly, my mom got on her phone. She must have called everybody she could call, and I just remember like everybody was just so happy, and I don't ever think they gave me a second to feel down. So then right off the bat, it's like, yo, I survived. And like that in itself, it's like when you're somebody that survived something, you feel like, yo, you're a warrior, you feel like you're a soldier. It's like, all right, like can't nothing stop me. Like only God is gonna stop me if he wants to stop me. So that's exactly what my mentality was. And yeah.
And I mean, during that time in the hospital, like how is the feeling of having an amputated leg? Like, did it automatically feel different? Did you have to like, or was it almost normalized because you were just out of it for so long?
So I'll say one thing. The hospital was the only time I feel like I had a real low point, and it was only because of frustration. Like, the hospital has like this weird aura or smell to it that you feel like people come there to die, or like people, it's like nothing felt progressive. So I'm sitting in the hospital, my sleeping patterns messed up. I'm getting up at like 3 a.m. and like I just remember being so frustrated. Like, I need to get out of here, because they already told me like after the hospital, the next step will be going like to rehab as an inpatient. But like I just knew I didn't belong there. I'm like, yo, I'm not making any progress. This place isn't making me feel better about myself. And like I remember one day, because they always like made these suggestions, hey, come and sit in one of like these groups, support groups or whatever. I go to the support group, there's a few other people with like amputees or like whatever they're going through. And this lady just starts talking, and she's just like, they ask you how you feeling today. And she was like, oh, I'm so angry. Like she's like, has this I hate the world attitude. That was my one and done. That's my last time going to support group. I'm like, yo, not for nothing. Like, that's not the energy I want to be around. Like, she was very like down and out about life. I'm just like, yo, I'm not coming back to the support group. Like, cause my thought process was different. Like, and honestly, a lot of people probably aren't as blessed as I am. If I was in the hospital for 30 days and I had 2 visits a day, every day of those 30 days and every visit slot, somebody came to see me. Like, to the point where my doctors and nurses like, yo, like, you probably one of the only people that gets a visit every single day for the full duration, like two visits, however many hours. And it was like, that alone was like a blessing. Like, my family never let me feel alone. They never let me feel like, oh, like, I needed anything. They was always there. So yeah, I don't think I ever got to the point where I felt I should be in that hospital. Like, even with the amputation, it never felt like, oh yeah, this is just like where I'm supposed to be. I knew I had to go to the next step.
Do you think without your family support, you would have a different outlook on this whole situation?
Absolutely, because that's where my like energy and strength came from. Because like my family and my close friends, like that love made me remember who I was. Like yeah, my leg was gone, but my personality, my mentality, my heart, like everything that I stood for and things that I've done, accomplishing like my goals, like those things were still there. So immediately, like, leaving the hospital, I went and did a few weeks in physical therapy. My physical therapist, they were like, yo, like, you're really like ahead of schedule. A lot of things that would have took me, a regular person, probably a month or two to like get through, I finished in like 3 weeks. And so yeah, I don't know. Yeah, without my family, I definitely don't think I would have been on pace at that pace. I definitely would have been way slower. So,
and now on the road to recovery, I'm sure even your close friends that maybe didn't make it to the hospital, are you noticing maybe they're treating you a different way when honestly, like, you don't even want that sympathy? Like, how is that adjusting to that of like people maybe overplaying their part because of the situation? You're like, yo, like, I get it, but I don't need you to feel that bad for me.
there was like maybe a small amount of people that did carry it like that, but it was more like the women in my life. Like even like I had one of my homegirls, and like at this time I hadn't transitioned from the wheelchair to the crutches yet or anything else. So I'm still in the wheelchair predominantly, and like I'm moving around and I'm like trying to move myself, and she wants to push me everywhere. I'm like, yo, chill. Like, I don't want you, like, don't not push my wheelchair. I do not want to feel like I need anyone, or like I'm like, somebody that can't do anything on my own. That was an instance, but I feel like all the people that know me, like, know me for real, to treat me regular. Like, I'm talking about my older brother was still giving me tasks, and at some point I'm looking, I'm like, yo, bro, I'm on one leg, right? I'm like, he's like, yo, go do this, go do that. I'm like, yo, like, you dead out, you dead ass right now, because it's like I have to. When I tell you, because I grew up in my household was 6, right, 5 boys, 1 girl, and like it was really a tough love environment. So Yeah, even my little brother, like he'll call me and like clown with me about something. He's like he'll send me a video of like something he saw on IG of like a guy with one leg trying to like dance or like, you know, trying to do something, and he's like, man, you can't compete with this guy. Like, yo, like he's like, yo, you got 24 hours to make a video showing that you can. so yeah, so like my family, they never made me feel like any less.
How soon was that? I'm curious to know, because like I'm a very like dark humor kind of guy. How soon was it okay for some of the jokes and some of the nuances to start flying with you?
To be honest, I broke the ice first. So like I was cracking dark humor jokes while I was even still in the hospital. So like people were shocked that I still even have my humor. So I'm a dark humor guy too. Like, so my humor is as dark as I am. Like, like I'll tell you that off the bat. So yeah, like I don't know. Like I definitely, I feel like everybody that conversed with me could see. Oh, nah, yeah, he's cool. He's still the same. Like he's still cracking jokes. He's still, you know, saying, you know, the same old Sam Black stuff. So like, yeah, it wasn't even something that people had to. If you're a stranger to me, yeah, you're gonna like tiptoe around it and like try to figure out like, yo, what's his temperature, what's his energy. But people that really knew me and had conversations with me, yeah, they're like, wow, yeah, no, he's good. Like, you know what I mean? Like I literally used to crack jokes. Like I'll talk about like first time I went to go get a pedicure. I'm talking to the lady. I'm like, yo, I get 50% off, right? Like, yo, she's laughing and she's like, I guess. I mean, and I'm like, lady, you're not doing the same work, like, you know. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. Like, I literally like always have my humor, so you can't take that. So, yeah, it was like it wasn't even like a long time. Everybody was just once they seen I was cool with it. Yeah, it was.
And one thing that you said earlier, it was about that support group and about that negative lady that was talking. The first thing that I thought of though was like, what if your purpose in those support groups is to change the direction of that conversation or of that way of thinking? Have you ever thought about that?
Yeah, actually, it's funny because I did want to talk to you about that because I see like that's something that I could tell like you're into. Over time, I did start realizing I'll be in random places and like, yo, if people weren't with me, they probably wouldn't believe me. Like people will come up to me and like they'll talk to me and be like, hey, like I, you know, I motivated them today, or like just seeing me out doing my thing inspired them. People have random conversation, and like I'm not somebody that's like standoffish. Like I'll talk to somebody if you approach me the right way. You feel me? Like there's some, you know, I've had a guy ask me, hey, did you serve? I'm like, nah, I ain't serve. Like, if you don't mind me asking what happened, you know, told him, he's like, yo, man, I was in crutches once, and honestly, I commend you. Like, you know, boom, boom. And like, I've realized in this last year or two, I've had more conversations like that than I ever expected. Just people explaining how my situation motivated them or inspired them. Or like, it'll be a stranger. Like, I'm in the airport with my mans, and like a random lady's like, yo, you have a good heart. And she don't know me. She don't like, she just made that statement right from my boy, and he's like, yo, that's crazy. Like if I was to tell somebody that, they probably wouldn't believe it. But I started you know, and like embracing that energy and that calling. So I do want to start going to these support groups, but my position would be different. Like I do want to be someone that could talk to the person that might be down and out or feeling like, yo, you know what, there's no more hope, and they show them or you know, tell them. So at the time that happened, I didn't have much to go off of, but this journey has given me a lot to talk about. I have different experiences, different things that, like, you know, like I could say that hasn't even come up in our conversation yet. That's like, you know, very inspirational things, like you know how you said, like, you know, this is like a movie. I had that experience where it's like, okay, in the coma, I had like, you know, I had like a long dream where, yeah, I was visited by a guardian angel, but at the moment I didn't know that's what it was. And like I only shared that story in detail with my older brother. When I woke up, like, yo, and I explained to him, like, yo, I was having this dream. You know, somebody kept like coming to me and consoling me. And then he's like, yo, there's no doctor around here that, you know, I'm describing to him the dream. And the person in dreams are like a nurse. And he's like, nah, there's no nurse here, you know, with that description. Fast forward, I'm sitting in my house one day and I just have like boom, like a flashback. I'm like, yo, that's what that dream was. Like I was literally getting visited by my guardian angel that was giving me reassurance and consoling me, like, yo, like you're gonna be good, like, you know what I mean? And like that was a very intimate, like, moment. Like I said, I only shared it with my older brother, like, and he'll be somebody that could attest, like, he probably didn't know what I was talking about. Thought like, probably the drugs was, getting to me. But like I said, I won't, like, that's one dream I'll probably never forget.
Mm. And this guardian angel experience, like, what actually was happening? Like, was it just someone like making sure you were okay? Was it actually somebody talking to you? Like, what was the experience?
All right, so we're gonna go into detail. So boom, so mind you, like I said, I'm still in a coma. This ain't even like just like, oh, I've woken up, went back to sleep. I haven't even woken out the coma yet. So in the dream, I know I'm in the hospital, and the nurse lives on top of the hospital. So it's like the nurse has like an apartment above the hospital, and at night, like, when everybody goes home, everybody's the shift's done, whatever, I'll go up to the nurse's apartment, and then it'll be like reassurance, like, oh, you're gonna be all right, you're gonna make it through. Yeah, I remember her, like, she's telling me, your legs are gonna grow back, like you're gonna, like basically like things that like you're not gonna hear, like, from a regular doctor or whatever, like, but like the reassurance she's giving me was literally like, all right, yo, you're good. And this was like, it felt like it was like a 3-day, 4-day dream, to the point like every night I'm going upstairs and I'm like, I'm in a safe space, and it's the, like, rooms all white, and I'm just getting this like reassurance, like, yo, you're gonna survive, you're gonna be good. And I remember once I got out the coma, the doctor asked me, do you know where you're at? And then I said, I looked around, I'm like, yo, I said, I'm at such and such hospital. He's like, nah, you're close. You're at this hospital. And he was even like, kind of like telling me, like, he was kind of surprised that I even knew that I was in the hospital right away, or like, that I could even remember, the names of the hospitals. And then like, that's when I told my brother, like, no, funny, like, I was having this dream that somebody lives on top of the hospital. They kept like, checking on me, making sure I was good. And then like I said, months later, I was just randomly sitting in my room, and I don't know if I had just seen something or watched something, but they were like the message I was receiving, like, yo, if you're ever having those experiences and you go up, it's like you're going to heaven, and if you go down, it's like you're going to hell, like in those experiences. So I'm like, yo, hold on. And then it all came back to me. I'm like, hold on, I was going upstairs. The nurse lived on top. Like, that was definitely an angel. And it was like what I was watching, I was explaining this to me. There was no way that, it would be able to know that I even went through this experience. So I'm like, yo, like, for me to receive that message, that reassurance that I had a guardian angel that, checked on me or visited me, I'm like, yo, like, I'm a person that I do believe in God. I do believe in, like, somebody greater than us, whatever you acknowledge it as, because that's just, that's what we all do. We all have our own definition or whatever, but I do believe in the higher power. So I do believe, like, my purpose is, I have a purpose, and I was visited.
And moving forward, I'm just gonna ask some rapid questions. You're just gonna let me know kind of your thoughts on them. All right.
Mm-hmm.
How do you measure success?
Honestly, one, I measure success based on how many goals you set out for yourself that you accomplish, also amongst the amount of lives around you that you're able to impact.
Yeah.
So success isn't always a monetary thing. I know that, reaching your goals, like, for me, it's like one of those things, like, if you're happy in life, if you reach happiness, you're successful. Because happiness to everybody is different. So there might be someone who's a millionaire and he's unhappy. There might be somebody who's not. If you're happy in life, I think you're successful. That you succeeded.
Would you rather be loved or respected?
Some of these are trick questions, but I'm gonna answer. I'm not gonna give a clear answer, but it depends by who. It depends by who. But ultimately, I'll say respected.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know you have more, but can you name 2 of your close friends?
Shoot. The people I talk to almost every day right now, my man Sip and my man City.
Shout out to Sip and City, 2 good dudes. If I go up to Sip and I go up to City, and I'm like, what does Sam need to work on the most? What would each one of them tell me?
Trying to think, because it'd probably be something that I'll say too, because I'm not a guy in denial a lot. But I think right now, what would they say? I don't know. I think getting up and getting back to, because I do have my days where I'm very much on cruise control, but I think they'll probably just saying like getting back as far as like my life goes, like getting back behind the wheel and going back like full throttle, like not taking my foot off the gas, because although I've been making a lot of progress, I've been making a lot of adjustments and adaptations. I do feel like I'm not at my maximum potential, and I do feel like there are times where I take my foot off the gas. So that they'll both probably say that, like, yo, like he has another level that he hasn't tapped into, and I've been very like passive about it.
Mm-hmm. What do you believe to be true that most people don't?
About myself, or like just
anything?
Damn, what do I believe to be true that most people don't? Shoot, that's a tough question. I can't even think. Cause a lot of things I believe to be true, I think other people believe that too. I don't have nothing. I can't say for sure. I don't know. Maybe
one that sticks out to me is the fact that you are actually not depressed, right? Like I feel like that would be a huge one.
Yeah, if we're making this personal, so yeah, a lot of people, and it's funny. Even in the beginning, my older brother, like I said, it's 5 boys in my family, so and then 1 girl. So whenever I say older brother, I could be talking about any one of my other older brothers, but just one of them. He used to always be like calling, like, "Hey, you depressed yet? You going through it yet?" I'm like, mind you, he's saying it very cool.
You depressed yet is crazy.
yo, he's saying it very cool, calm, collective. He's like, yo, he's telling me, he's like, yeah, one of my guys who like works in this field who's like very knowledgeable about this stuff. Like, telling me like, pay attention to you because you're gonna go through that phase at some point. I'm just like, yo, tell you whoever your guy expert is, tell him I'm good. Like I'm straight. And like when I tell you he called me, like it's a few phone calls. Yo, you crying yet? You down and out yet? You depressed? I'm like, yeah, this guy can't be serious. But but that was his way of actually like doing a wellness check on me at the same time, because like he's one of those brothers that like he's not big on like showing his emotions, but you just kind of know through interaction, like he's tapping, he's checking in. But I think a lot of people probably didn't believe or think that I would go through it without being down and out and having that like moment of just hopelessness. But nah.
What's your most regretful purchase?
Sheesh. The most regretful purpose I have isn't even like a crazy, like, it wasn't an expensive thing, but I was just talking about this the other day, and the only reason it's regretful is because I definitely got bamboozled. One day, mind you, this is like my birthday a couple years ago. I had stopped to grab gas. A random car pulls up, guy with his whole family. He starts giving me a spiel like, hey, need gas. I'm trying to whatever. I'll sell you, my ring, and I got a chain. Like he pulls out a watch, a ring, a chain, mind you, he does like this little fire test. Like I guess he must have had a real ring himself, but he's showing me his ring. He puts the lighter to it, blah blah, and like he's just like convincing me, like, yo, trust me, they're real. I just need money, and then like the family's in on it. The little kid right there, wife. The crazy thing is I worked at a jewelry store, so I should have been able to spot fake jewelry off the bat. But like I said, it was my birthday. I was so like oh yeah, I'm like
stuff like that. Yeah.
I'm thinking I'm coming up. Yeah, he got me for like a cool. And mind you, I don't even share the story with everybody, but he got me for a cool couple $100, like the ring first, and then the. So I must have spent like $300. I took it to the jeweler next day, thinking I'm about to flip it for some bread. My jeweler looked at me, he laughed. He's like, yo, you used to work here. You can't tell this is fake. And then, like to this day, so I went back to that gas station, like for like a whole month.
You think he was gonna pull up again?
Yeah. I'm like, yo, this car better pull up again. Never saw that guy again.
And he had the kids on it.
Yo, what? Little kid, like 3. He could talk, but he's like 4 years old. Daughter, wife. It just the whole spill, like. Can't trying to get a flight or can't do this gas. Like I end up getting.
You hit up like 8 different gas stations. You're good for the week, man. You do something like that. If you could have lunch with anyone, who would it be and why?
Well, probably. I mean, somebody who's like somebody I looked up to just as. When I used to be heavily into sports, like Kobe Bryant would be somebody I have lunch with. And that's just because, like, there's a lot. Like, for me, I always admired his motivation to be better. Like, it's just something that I feel is unmatched. And, like, I don't want to get into the sports thing. To me, he's still, my all-time GOAT, like, above all else. But yeah, I feel like he's definitely somebody. It's funny. A lot of people that know me personally, when I was in that hospital bed, as people get you flowers, people get you. I got 3 Kobe Bryant books as a gift from like different people, like to the point, like the first time I got the book, I had already had the book at home, so I'm like, my sister's the one I got it from. Like, yo, I got this book already. She's like, no, you don't. I'm like, yo, trust me. When it first came out, I got it. And she, like I said, a lot of people, their thing is like, yo, he's still under like whatever the drugs they giving him. I'm like, yo, trust me, I have this book. By the time like I made it home, I had 3 new Kobe Bryant books plus the one I had at home. I'm like, yo, people really knew like this is like my guy. Like as far as like motivation goes, that's somebody like I really look up to.
When it's all said and done, how would you like to be remembered?
The way people remember me now, I feel like the people that know me already could tell, like, he has a big heart. Always motivational, always, strong, always good spirited. I just was, one of those people that I ain't fake it for the public. Like I'm me. Like, you're not gonna get like fake energy, phony energy. Like you're gonna get good vibes around me. Like I just, I'm a people person. That's what I'm be remembered by. Like I'm just a people person with a lot of love.
Before we wrap this up, do you have any questions for me?
Well, I got a few questions, but we'll keep it quick. Basically, what made you get into this field? Like, what's like
a podcasting or
like as far as like the motivational aspect of things when working with people and like how you're asking me for my story, like what made you get into it and what's your goal with it?
Sure. So the motivation aspect is just because it's something that I need. And I'm a true believer that developing into the individual that you would want in your life, even if it's at like a younger age or whatever the case may be, is everyone's purpose. So like if your purpose in life is to be this motivational person for people going through some of the things that you're going through, like that's very purposeful. That's very aligned with like what you're doing. And I feel like everyone's purpose is that of some sort. Growing up, I wasn't the most confident I didn't have the best self-esteem. I was definitely like a follower. I was doing stuff just because some of the kids in the neighborhood were doing it. And now I vocalize heavy to kind of put yourself first. The reason why I do this is because I feel like there's so many people around me that have such a crazy story. Mm-hmm. And like how we were talking off air, especially if you're in like the nightlife scene, there's a lot of handshakes. There's a lot of, yo, what's going on? There's a lot of like quick, laughs and jokes, but nobody really knows anybody.
Nah, you're right about that.
Like, like a lot of us are famous nobodies because nobody like truly knows like, oh, he went through this, or oh, in the 5th grade, like, he got shot, or whatever the case may be. And so what I like doing on this platform, one, is praising especially the black people around the way that I feel like are on the path of doing really great things. But the second thing is just for awareness, because there might be someone out there that, they might have something going on in their life where they feel like they're down and out, see this and be like, who the hell am I to give up? You know what I'm saying? Like, like if he's feeling like he's not giving 100%, what the hell kind of percent am I giving? And so for me, I feed off of that. Like, when you were saying that people come around you feeling like, that thanking you because you're motivating them, you motivate me. And that was part of the reason why I reached out. I'm glad that you kind of accepted the invitation, because I knew it was kind of like, oh, he might not, he might. But I think this is going to go down as one of the best interviews that we've had. And I definitely appreciate you for coming through, man.
I appreciate you having me, man. Honestly means a lot. I've been real reluctant to come out and speak, but I think I'm gonna start opening that door more. This is the second podcast I did, and both are like close friends of mine, and it's a good cause. I definitely support it, and thank you again.
Yes, sir. Y'all stay smooth out there. Peace.